So, Janelle, I'm going to start with you. How does a strong early connection make conversations about developmental concerns or referrals feel less intimidating? And can you share an example of when that relationship helped you support a family through a challenging moment?
Like I mentioned earlier, having a strong relationship early on ensures caregivers are more engaged, participate consistently, and use strategies they learn. They may share their concerns and ask questions about their child's development. When there's a strong trust, caregivers are more willing to accept referrals and connect with community support services. And with this, I would like to tell a story of a family I had the pleasure of working with. Before I started with the family, Liz, my supervisor, let me know that the mom had some concerns about the child's speech and milestones. Going in with this information, I knew I had to meet the family where they were at that moment. The child was on the edge of turning 3 years old, nonverbal, but communicated in her own way. She used her hands to communicate, not using the typical baby ASL, but using movements that she connected objects, songs, or food to. And within the first 3 weeks, the mom helped me understand her daughter's language by translating movements that I didn't quite really understand or connect with. And I believe that this is what PC Plus is all about. We learn from them just as much as they learn from us. And after those initial 3 weeks, I understood the child's language, and I suggested to mom using kind of like picture charts that I made for them and for her and her family to use together to support the child. And she thought it was a great idea, but she was a bit nervous. So I took that opportunity to introduce the child's ASQ results. All developmental milestones were in the referral zone for ASQ3 and ASQ2. And once I discussed the results with the mom, she let me know she would have a conversation with the husband to discuss the options that they have. They were private insurance, so we couldn't really do the whole referral process with them. So in the following visit, the mom let me know husband was not on board with seeking support or evaluation. I assured her it was okay to wait and that we would do a second ASQ, second round of ASQs in a few months to see if there were still some concerns. Meanwhile, we waited. The child continued using the charts to communicate and even started vocalizing the beginning of words. So it was pretty cool to hear her try to speak, but it was more of a hushed voice when she would try to say some words. So we also introduced new activities for the child that mom mentioned she wanted her to try, such as using dot markers and Play-Doh. After a few months, the second round of ASQs were completed. This time we did a virtual visit. The reason why I suggested a virtual visit was because I wanted the mom to be able to see the first ASQs side by side with the second ones. This guided the conversation about the results, and the method that I used was a bit kind of like a sandwich. So I shared that we were seeing some improvement. I was comparing the first ASQs with the second ASQs, and we can see that there was improvement. There was an increase in numbers for ASQ3 and a decrease in ASQ2. I mentioned that we both had witnessed the child's growth. We from nonverbal to trying to say words. So we're seeing her growth, but there were still some concerns in it. So I encouraged her to seek support and evaluation so that the child can get more intentional guidance before program completion. The language used was important to ensure that the family felt supported and not be intimidated by the idea of seeking support. She had a conversation with her husband as well and used the same method I did, having the initial ASQs and the second round side by side. And after they had the conversation, they sought support and evaluation, and the child was then diagnosed with level 2 autism. After program completion, the child was enrolled in TK in a support class with other neurodivergent children. The mom is now integrated in our SOMOS organization and family resource centers. She found support in the community. She participates in our programs such as Jardín de Niños, which is tailored for neurodivergent children. And she recently just certified for under Be Strong Families as a parent cafe host. So she's going to be supporting us when we do parent cafes. And I still maintain my connection with the family, and I recently just received a video from the mom, and it was a child singing "You Are My Sunshine." Sorry, I'm gonna tear up because I get really emotional just talking about this because I think about the video when I first watched it. And watching the video brought me so many emotions and so much happiness that I cried. I cried because it brought me to back to when she was completely nonverbal. No words were coming out of her mouth. No, she loved music, but she couldn't sing along with the words. So she had grown so much, and not only her, but her mom as well. And so all of this was a result of having such a strong relationship. It is why the work that we do is so important and impactful. And so with that, I would like to share these two videos from my visits with the family. One is probably, I think, a few months after the initial ASQ, and then the last video is going to be her in school that the mom sent me, the video that the mom sent me. Yeah.
I'm not sure if folks could hear that. Couldn't hear it.
Oh, my audio was off. I'm so sorry, you guys.
Okay, let's try again. It's only
Let
40
me do
seconds.
that
Let's try
again.
again.
Here.
See? Yeah. What else? Want some bread? What about some bread? Oh, the bacon. Mm. Oh, yeah. I'm still sad. Hello. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys. He's crying. We have to call somebody to help. I'm gonna help him. Paw Patrol, where's Paw Patrol? Where are you? Come help him. He needs help.
Just to give a little bit of context from that video, the mom brought out some bubbles and it had the character, I believe, Sky from Paw Patrol. And some of the bubbles had dried out onto the paper. So she was so concerned. She thought it was hurt. So she was trying to wipe off with any of like the toys that we had right there. She tried to wipe off the soap or like try to help it. And that's why you see that she's like going like this, like she's trying to say that he's crying, or she grabs the phone to call for help. So that's why I'm like, oh, he's still crying, he's so sad. And so that's why I was guiding, and that's like the nonverbal communication, right? So I was taking cues from her to guide that conversation, and mom was trying to also use like the toy, trying to go back to the toy so that the child would use a toy too. So yeah, that's part of that video. And then the second video is of her singing. Um,
Please don't take my sunshine away. I did the second.
yeah, so that's the video that brought me to tears. It was just so emotional to see and hear her finally use her voice.
Thank you, Janelle. Incredible, incredible family, incredible intervention on your part. Um, Giving the family the tool of the sandwich method of something positive, something we need to work on, and ending with something positive. Fantastic. I love that. And the ASQ tip about putting the ASQ side by side virtually in a virtual visit. Amazing. Like such a practical, great tip. And this family is engaged, and the mom has support, and the child has support, and just incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your brilliance with us. So Liz, I should have mentioned you are Janelle's supervisor. So I would like to ask you, how do you provide support for in a situation like this as a coordinator, as a supervisor?
Thank you, Whitney. It always gets to me, rewatching videos and things like this. But in this specific case, I really believe the early relationship building with the family helped prepare both the caregiver and Janelle, especially to navigate the developmental concerns, especially in a more supportive way. And I feel like because the trust had already been established with me, conversations around developmental felt less intimidating and it reduced the fear or even the defensiveness, that sometimes that could happen. Janelle and I approached the situation like she mentioned, with non-alarming language, and we understood that the timing mattered. And instead of pushing for immediate action, we respected where the family was emotionally and allowed that space for trust to continue growing. Revisiting the concerns over time, including repeating the mid-ASQs later on, that really strengthened the engagement rather than delaying the support, because even though we wait like about 2 months to do the mid ASQs, Janelle and I worked on scaffolding the VISM list, and we modified, but we're still providing her the opportunity to explore these VISMs. And this experience also reinforced the importance of helping home visitors understand that developmental conversations are a process, not a single moment. It's not just like, here's a result and that's it. Families may need time to actually, well, um, to process, because the concerns can feel overwhelming, and caregivers sometimes are not aligned, just like in this specific situation, so resistance, I think, should not be seen as a lack of engagement, but as a part of a family's journey. And I think most of all, when families feel respected, supported, and pressured, they're more likely to follow through and remain connected to services.